the second. India have won the Test match. India have won the series. They're going to get back for two. India home.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the 81 All Out podcast. This is your host, Siddhartha Vaidyanathan. And I'm joined by two regulars, Ashoka and Kartikeya, both of them on X. I will link their handles. We've been a bit sporadic with our podcasts over the last couple of months. Work and other family pressures have taken over my life, but I'm hoping to be a bit more regular now, especially with the World Cup T20 World Cup now going on, and hopefully we can do some regular chats about it and reviews. So thought I'll start with the big picture about the tournament, what your thoughts are, and then we can drill into a little more specifics. It's initially, for me personally, I didn't even realize what was happening in the first few days because the tournament seemed to have got off to a really, really tepid start with rain and even the pitches. Initially it was quite bizarre to see, not bizarre, but it was quite different, especially after coming off an IPL where you had teams scoring 200, 250 and, even like getting close to 300. And then suddenly you had Sri Lanka getting 77 all out against South Africa, and you had teams falling for really low scores. Even yesterday, South Africa against Bangladesh, it was a low scoring game. India against Pakistan was a low scorer. But I think after the initial few games, these low scoring games actually have been weirdly entertaining for me. It's almost like you're back to a kind of a 1980s rhythm of one day. And they have found this, they've somehow crunched it into 3 hours and they're playing this, and the teams are then actually being able to defend low totals. India defended against Pakistan, South Africa defended against Bangladesh. The moment you have a team defending it, then I think the excitement goes up. Otherwise, it's like team bats first, gets a low score, conditions change, team batting second, then easily pulls off a 8-wicket win. Then there's no excitement. But I think the excitement is coming because teams are actually defending like 25 runs in 25 balls. They're actually defending it, which is sort of a throwback to a time when, in the IPL, if you say 25 runs of 25 balls, nobody's going to give the bowling team a chance. Or in most T20s, I think 95% of the T20s, it will be chased now. So that way it's been oddly entertaining. Of course, part of the half of the tournament is being played in the USA, and the pitches in the USA, drop-in pitches, new grounds. It's been a lottery, but again, it's been a lottery for both teams. So that way, it's been good. It's not just been a lottery. It's not just been like one team getting a massive advantage. So both teams have had to battle it out in most games. Anyway, so Ashoka, thoughts, big picture. Have you been watching much of the tournament? How's the time zone going? I'll get into the US part of it later. The so-called farce of this being the way to promote cricket in America. I don't think it is. But how has it been watching from India, time zone wise and overall impressions?
Predictably terrible because 5 a.m., 6 a.m. is not happening for me while I'm watching a T20 match. 8 p.m. is okay, but it's still weird, man. I'm watching a day game at night. So, and as you said, there have been a lot of low scores. I just checked. 21 matches have happened, which means 42 innings have happened. 17 of them are under 6 runs per over. See, the equivalent of this is you have a test match series where the pitches are flat, and every test match you see batsmen getting 500, 600. Both teams getting like 500 plus 600 draws, and bowlers are dying. This is that equivalent of a T20 where batsmen have no chance. There is nothing that you can predict. The ball is moving like all 4 directions. It's going up, down. It's going left and right. There's no way you can predict anything. And the best thing you can say about it is the batsmen who have a good test technique can survive. And that's not saying much about a T20. No? That's just, you're hardly saying anything about a T20 then, because the T20 is set up for two batting teams to score as many runs as possible by making wickets so precious, and by overpowering the bowlers. You have actually taken away everything that is central to a T20. I understand people who are saying that this is brought a contest between the bat and ball into focus, but it hasn't really. I mean, the bat is nowhere in the contest. The best you can do is like 5 boundaries in 20 overs or 10 boundaries in 20 overs. I mean, that is suboptimal for a T20. So I don't know what has happened. Probably in the West Indies and a couple of matches in Dallas, we have gotten proper pitches, and we have seen a couple of good matches. Outside of that, I mean, I am not a big fan of this low-scoring encounters, man. I don't know what's the charm in them. I mean, cricket has gotten better from the 90s. That is the point of all that we were saying and all that we are watching. Cricket has gotten like infinitely better. It's good to peddle nostalgia, but I don't think, I mean, going back to the 90s, remembering the 90s, I think YouTube will suffice. I don't think we need a World Cup for that.
Also, I don't think this happened by design. This has just happened. I mean, this is not something that was planned.
I know this is not planned at all. I mean, hastily you drop in a pitch, and then that these things take time, and then surfaces which have not been tested. You wanted to have a match in New York, and then you force-fitted everything to accommodate that fact. I mean,
correct.
What farce is this? I mean, you're trying to bring an India-Pakistan into America by saying, okay, we will have a match in New York. This will be the marquee event. This will be the greatest thing in all of sports. But to force fit everything just to accommodate that one event, I don't think you bought cricket anywhere close to America. What? Matches are happening like midday on weekdays, man. Who in the right mind will spend like $30 to come and watch this? No Native Americans will come. All these NRIs only will come. So what are you doing? You're doing nothing.
Yeah. So basically, first of all, this New York itself is a bit of a stretch because the stadium is like way outside sort of New York City. It's in the state of New York.
That is par for New York. No, everything that is in New York is in New Jersey. People are in New Jersey.
No. I mean, not New Jersey, but this is in Long Island. Yeah, that's true. There are many stadiums even in the US, many marquee stadiums that are well outside city limits. That is fine. But what I'm trying to say is the story that caught my eye about this whole World Cup in New York is that, actually speaking, there was like a stadium in the Bronx, which is like a 34,000-seater stadium where people play cricket regularly. But then that stadium, they said that those people who were playing cricket there said, no, you cannot play your World Cup and all over here because we have our cricket matches going on and we do not want to give it up. So, I mean, Greg, hats off to them.
That means that cricket is already in a good shape in America. Give it 50 years, it will come up on its own.
Yeah. Cricket, see, the thing is, cricket has the NRIs, the Indians, Pakistanis, West Indians and all, they have a large community of cricketers who play, and many of them are former cricketers, like all this Clayton Lambert and all have played for many years in this US leagues. And remember this guy, our Franklin Rose, of course, the famous 81 all-out Franklin Rose. He also played quite often. Ricardo Powell, many of these guys, they have played in these leagues. And so cricket is there. But the thing is, if you want to really reach it to a larger audience, number one, you have to have it on TV, man. So in America at the moment, the only way to watch this World Cup is on this Willow TV app, which is where you watch cricket anyway. So the people who are watching on this app are the people who are anyway watching cricket. So are the, Indians and Pakistanis and whoever else is already interested in cricket is watching cricket. So you're not really getting any new fans into the game. The way to get new fans into the game primarily is through TV, is to at least have some highlights or something going on in one of the premier sports channels here. Or, if not for the live games, I mean, ideally you want live games, but at least have some kind of highlights or shows where you combine highlights from games and put it together. None of that is there. And secondly, of course, they haven't really done anything to market the game outside the typical cricket communities. So the people at the stadium are also people who are pretty much already watching the game. Of course, you'll find a few exceptions and you'll find some stories here and there. And Peter De La Pena always does a great job of finding people who are coming first time to cricket games and all that. So you can follow his feeds for that. But yeah, I mean, come on, it's like really, really sparse. Anyway, KD, thoughts, overall impressions?
Oh, I don't know. I think that basically every World Cup we see that, the associate teams are getting better and better and better. And they're getting like closer and closer and closer. They look, like 15, 20 years ago, like if you look at the 2003 World Cup or the 1999 World Cup or the 1996 World Cup, and you could really tell, that even relative to like Indian teams from back then, like the Dutch team or the American team or the Namibian team, they did look like, amateur players, weekend players. Now, in the current US team, for example, there are amateur players. I mean, there are all the players in this American team have like other jobs. Very few of them are playing cricket professionally. But they are better. They are much closer to the international teams, and the international teams have gotten fitter and stronger and bigger. So the ICC.
Yeah, but even in '96, Kenya beat West Indies. Huh?
Yeah.
We shouldn't forget that.
That once in the first 7-8 World Cups there was an upset. That's fine. Yeah. I mean that. No, the norm was like Namibia being bowled out for 45.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is a lot of investment that's gone on. All these ICC tournaments are generating money, and that money is going into, making all these players better. So that's actually one thing which the money is helping to take the game to new countries and get. I mean, I think much of it has to do with the diaspora, but regardless, it has to start somewhere. And this is a place for it to start. I mean, who knows? I mean, by 2050, if at least one of these teams becomes like a test quality team with a first class league, then yeah, it's an achievement. I mean, some of these countries, the weather is really not like in Canada and all. Like the weather is really not. Like the summer is really short. So, but there are still other teams, right? I mean, so, and it's a good thing, I think, generally. I mean, this feels like a World Cup. This feels like something different to the usual, like, India versus England 5 test matches or, World Test Championship final. That is all very elite.
Or even the 2000, or even the World Cup that happened in 2023. The 10 team, it was so limited. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, this feels like, like in the Football World Cup, you get to see like, Saudi Arabia playing, I don't know, Argentina. And,
and they beat them also.
They beat them last time. But, these are players who never played each other before, never faced each other before in many cases. And like, so it's an interesting thing. Now, yeah, it's T20 and like, fine. And then I think realistically, given like what's happening with the schedules and with the big teams essentially having to split their squads and have separate squads or different formats and send teams to different series at the same time, like T20 is probably the only tournament which can afford to have a 20-team tournament, but it's it's fun to read about, you don't really have to follow it that much. And as it is, I think most of my World Cup following happens by just, looking over the scorecards and the fall shot figures and all that nowadays. And then sometimes I go on the website and see the highlights and stuff. But it is fun. I mean, it is a different type of cricket tournament. I mean, this is also a different type of T20. I mean, it's not the professional franchise IPL T20 or BBL T20 or where all these teams are like cut to cut, operating at the very edge of their salary cap, making very, very expensive salary decisions about, who to retain, who to sell, who gets injured, who's available, who's not. And like basically all the teams are roughly equal. And the team which has a slightly worse time than the team which has a slightly better time, finishes in the bottom of the table and the other team finishes top. This is different. I mean, I don't think we should expect it also, right? I mean, if you are watching like, Canada versus, I don't know, United States, then frankly, I don't know any other players on any other sides. Like if they say, so-and-so is bowling, like I have no idea what that person bowls. Like, so it's all new. It's good. I enjoyed whatever. To the extent that I've followed it, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think, Nepal played a match against Netherlands in Dallas. And they were like, 7,000 people at that ground. And, that's a celebration in itself. Like, come on. Nepal against Netherlands, first of all, you would call it, a game against two lower rung sides. But the fact that there was such interest for that game, and the fact that, Nepal are first of all playing a World Cup, and, they're playing against Netherlands, this is such a excitement, such a crowd, it makes a difference. I mean, these are things that are very important for players, for teams, for cricket in general, I think. I mean, to have this kind of participation, to have this kind of involvement. The Bangladesh fans have turned up in, scores for their games in Dallas and New York. Their games have been like really, really well attended. Of course, India and Pakistan, needless to say, have the diaspora
they're paying like crazy amounts of money for those tickets, man.
Correct.
Like they're paying like something like 15 days rent or something like that for one ticket, man, for one T20 match. That's crazy.
Yeah, India Pakistan is probably they're paying like 1 year rent or something. Like that is the amount they're paying. Let's come to we'll come to that. But this associate is a real story. I mean, see, Scotland could actually make the next round. I mean, they of course got lucky with that rain off, but they could. They look very realistically in a position to make the next round. USA had that remarkable sort of day against Pakistan, and they pulled it off. And that was like a really heartwarming story because a lot of those players have, some of them have played cricket in India. I mean, Saurabh Netravalkar has played Ranji Trophy cricket for Mumbai. He's played under-19 cricket for India. But then, he took a different path. He came to the US. He's a really smart guy. He went to Cornell, got a job in Oracle, works in the Bay Area. But still, I mean, the fact that he's juggling a job, a pretty tough technical job, as anybody who works in, anybody knows, working in a tech company in the Bay Area is not a joke. I mean, it can really drain out your energies and resources. But here's this man who is not only doing that job, who is also finding a way to continue to play cricket for the USA against, these top teams. And then I read the story where he's talking about, when he has to play cricket, he has to schedule his work and his meetings to such a degree that he ends up working in the evenings after the games. And sometimes he even takes calls in the lunch break of games. They are quick calls, of course, but his team is supportive enough to make him do that. His company is supportive enough to allow him to, have that balance. And yeah, I mean, all that tells you that here is someone who is really, really passionate about the game. I mean, the only reason he's playing it is not because of the money, because he's not making too much money out of cricket for the USA. The reason he's playing it is purely out of passion. And that must tell you something about, players and games and why they why they play, why they choose, and it's really nice to see him bowl the super over against Pakistan, them winning that game. You had a lot of other players, by the way, in that US team who have day jobs, who have been shunting around. Like this player, Nitish Kumar, he has played for Canada, he has played for the USA, he has played for, both teams there. Monang Patel, he looks like a good player. I mean, Monang Patel can easily, I can see him playing in a Ranji Trophy team. He looks like solid and nice and also a bit of class about his shots. He batted really well. So, and I think he has played for Gujarat also under age group cricket. So, yeah, thoughts about USA, Pakistan, USA, USA beat Canada and Aaron Jones, he just came and slammed that ball and just took them to the win there. That was a good win for them as well. And who knows? USA, India is coming up. Who knows what we are in for?
The larger point of at least the associates, as far as the associates are concerned, I've always thought that as much as our calendar allows it, ICC struggle to find gaps in the calendar, appeasing everyone. So as much as the calendar allows it, at least for the T20 World Cup, they should move in this direction that they are moving correctly, which is 20 teams. If I'm being ambitious, or if ICC is being ambitious, they should try to accommodate at least 32 teams and go the Football World Cup way. Have 8 groups of 4 teams, and then have your pre-quarterfinal, quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. That would be a tournament and a half. Surely because one good game or bad game can kick you out, and that's fine. You don't have to have this India-Pakistan farce that you will it to happen every World Cup so you can make a little bit of money.
No, Ashoka, they don't will it, okay? They straight up game it. Okay. It's not
no
like
willing and all.
So I was like, they will it to happen and it comes into being. Like, no man, like
that's the facade.
Up, like what all acrobatic rules they make up so that they get guaranteed like 1 or 2 India-Pakistan matches. It makes sense, no? Why not? Like that's the big money spinner.
That's fine.
Hey, come on, but no, it doesn't make sense. I don't agree with it. Why? Soccer World Cup doesn't always have Brazil and Argentina playing. The Soccer World Cup doesn't always have whatever, you have the big money teams playing.
Yeah, but that's because soccer has so many revenue streams. No? It's not like the associate story is all roses. Okay, like if you've been following what Peter keeps reporting and what he used to report when he was still with Cricinfo, it's like the USA cricket administration is like really shaky. Like some of the stuff, like
it is like the 1800s team administration.
It is the DDCA of USA.
Yeah,
correct.
So, they by themselves they don't have a lot of money. The ICC gives them money, but they have no way to raise money of their own. Because who's going to pay for to put that on TV and stuff. So but now with the if they have franchises which are able to sign like Pat Cummins, who's like the best player in the world right now. So that's
he had to bring in Cummins, Sasha.
But it's true. What do you mean you had to bring in?
No, that's fine.
It's not my fault that they signed him.
I am no longer shocked, man. I'm no longer shocked that he brings, even in one American Cricket Association's corruption, he'll somehow bring in Cummins. What is the connection, dude?
There's also the other problem, no, with the what do you mean? What's the connection? They signed him. It was a big headline story, and as you know, I only read the headlines. That's why I know about it. But there's the other problem, no, which is that Scotland and Netherlands and all, like right now, so many of their like regular best players, they are tied down by their county contracts and like they're not always being released. Like whereas the England players, like because in ECB offers them central contracts, like they are not tied down by their county contracts. So it is like it's not like the associates are able to put out their best teams and also even then they are good. Like in a sense that's a sign of progress in itself, but it doesn't like help their cause in this tournament.
No, see, the problem is, end of the day, all your audience, your bulk of your audience, if a cricket watching audience universe, at least 60-70% are Indian, man. Even non-Indian matches, you are somehow ending up, on the.
Ashoka, the only way to reduce that percentage realistically is to make China a cricket superpower.
Yeah, I'm not
like
against
1
it.
in 6 people in the world is an Indian right now. Okay, so it's not like that percentage is going to go down a lot. Like,
or at least you have to find some audience somewhere. No, you can't have 70% of all your cricket watching community be Indians. No, at
why
least
not?
there should be some proportion.
There are a lot of Indians everywhere.
Yeah,
It's a
but
good
Ashoka,
market.
this is not a cricket problem. This is a population issue.
No, that's not actually true. This is a problem for finances. Your associate nations will remain underdeveloped unless until their own country people don't watch it, man. And their own country people will only watch it if their team somehow gets in some kind of a global event, and through luck, like USA or let's say Scotland,
No, it was that's why it was such a great thing. No, USA beat Pakistan. New York Times reported it. Like,
has to happen more. No, you have World Cups. You have World Cups once every 3 days. Like if you go 3 days, then there will be another World Cup or T20 World Cup, T10 World Cup, T5 World Cup. Give more teams a chance, man. Why only 20? Go 32.
I think it's growing now. This whole T20 is going to be in the Olympics in the 28. So
yeah, and that's in the US too.
Yeah,
that's
in LA, no?
Yeah. And that will be huge. I think more than this World Cup, I think that event will actually get a lot of new people around the world interested about cricket because they will finally see it on TV. They will see it wherever,
Let's hope that all these counties and these national boards, they release their players, man, for that. That's the big test.
Yeah.
Like if what happened with that Commonwealth Games happens, no, then it will be a problem.
No, but I think Olympics, the novelty of cricket being on the Olympics itself will be a big thing for people and for players. Anyway, but let us come to the biggest entertainers of this World Cup. Though we and I say entertainers.
Babar and RizBar.
What is this Pakistan team, man? Come on. They're taking entertainment levels to a different level. Now, Vasi and Ifi, I think they have given up also. How much to shout about this Pakistan team?
Dude, I've never seen.
Vasi and Ifi are not given up and all, okay? They are like an endless supply of invective.
No, but I've never seen in active commentary.
Nowadays, they have every time they find some new angle, man. Like now, yes. The other day they were saying Joe Biden ke ladke superpower hai or all stuff like that. What the hell, man?
Dude, I've never seen in active commentary Ramiz Raja, Wasim Akram, Waqar Younis being like openly sarcastic about the Pakistani team. Even they are now fed up of how this team is playing. And this is not a new problem, dude. They were average T20 side, average limited over side. They are not like some massive overpowered one-day side also. We saw that in the 2023 World Cup.
Actually, before this World Cup, they played a series in England. They got hammered, man. They got so badly hammered. And then they also lost to some very weak New Zealand team.
No, didn't they play Ireland? They played Ireland.
They lost Ireland also. They drew that series. Yeah. So they have been, but you know what I thought? I thought that there was this World Cup in UAE, right, some few years ago, where the pitches were again they were tired pitches and they were not they were all these mid 150 plays, 140, 160 plays, 150
pitches. That was the
pitches.
Middle of COVID, man.
Yeah, middle of COVID. But Pakistan actually did well in that World Cup. And they entered the semi. They played the semis and they lost a really close game to Australia. So I thought these pitches will actually help Pakistan because they have the Babar and Rizwan and all who are all these accumulators.
But Pakistan played the final of the 22 World Cup, man.
Yeah, correct. In Australia, yeah.
So everywhere, this whole business where, how good a T20 team is depends on where they end up in a World Cup. by that standard, Pakistan are a damn good T20 side, man. They made the
Come on,
final of the previous World Cup and the semi-final of the World Cup before that.
I don't think they're a good side.
No, they're not. They're a terrible side. But I mean, or rather, they're like Pakistan, like playing Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam as their openers, as two of their top three. You know, it's like imagine that it's like 2004, okay, and in ODI cricket, like Sri Lanka have got Jayasuriya, and England have got Trescothick, and India have got Sehwag, and Australia have got Gilchrist and all. And Australia suddenly decided, we don't want Gilchrist. We are going to put like Jeff Marsh and like some David Boone to open the batting, like that type of player to open the batting for us. Like that's what Pakistan have done, man. Like what is going on, man? I mean, it's like, and it's not even like Babar Azam and Rizwan have like what nowadays a very popular phrase among analysts, like these cricket data people, like the range of strokes, which is basically saying that what is in the 360 degrees of the ground, how much of that do you have strokes for how many different lines and lengths, and like
how de Villiers are you in the scale of 0 to de Villiers? How de Villiers
and they are like very much closer to de Villiers than 0 in that scale relative to other like specialist batters. Like that Zaman guy, like I don't understand. Like they keep moving him around. Like he was used to be an opener, then he became number 3, then sometimes he becomes number 4. Like the only guys who never change their position is like these Babar and this Rizwan, and like they're like average, man. Like, and the thing is, like by now, like what they can do is pretty clear. It's like they're not going to change. It's like it's the same thing with like look at like the sort of the canonical example of this problem, which is Kohli. And Kohli has tried so hard to change. Like he's tried to sweep. We saw it in this IPL. He's tried to play so many different shots. And even for a player of his like exceptional ability, it is so hard to change. It is so hard to go from like that batting training to the hitting method. It's not easy. And like these guys, I mean, are they really going to become like from 128 strike rate players to become like 145 strike rate players? No, yeah. I mean, it's much better to invest in somebody who has a chance, man. Somebody who's 21, 22, who has a chance.
But Kartikeya, in this World Cup, 128 strike rate should win you games daily.
No, but
still they are not winning.
No, it won't. No, Sidvi. Because the 128 strike rate is achieved on the average T20 pitch. No. So it's not like these Rizwan and Babar are going to score at a 128 strike rate on this pitch. I mean, what that translates to on these pitches is 31 and 44 balls. Because, the Rizwan has like one shot, like which is like this swipe across the line to square leg. He reminds me so much of Moeen Khan, except that he's like got a little bit more hair on his head, but otherwise, like especially
but Moeen Khan at least batted at 7 and 8, man.
Yeah,
this guy is coming and hogging balls.
Yeah, Rizwan is a keeper, no? I mean,
yeah, he is a keeper. Yeah.
So he's not an opener. But
I mean, first of all, he played out all these dot balls against Hardik and all these other bowlers, and then Bumrah comes and he tries like that shot. I'm like, what is this comedy, man?
No, playing dot balls against Hardik and Arshdeep. That's when I was thinking these guys are not going to even get to 100. Somehow they got to 100. I thought and Hardik was trying pretty much, everything that he could. Short balls, slower balls. On that pitch, you have to keep one length and all
and
day.
Also, that's where the whole training, the sort of the training in hitting comes in. Because like Rishabh Pant, I mean, it's not like Rishabh Pant is not aware that the pitch is like doing odd things, like that the ball is not bouncing predictably and like it's not coming at a predictable pace, and all that is true. Like the ball is moving off the pitch sometimes and not at others. All that's true. He knows that. But even then, he's sort of trained himself to, keep picking his spots, to keep going, playing his shots. And he could have got out. That would have been fine. At least he would have been playing the right way. I mean, even on this pitch, whereas a lot of the Pakistan players, they just sort of retreat into like batting. They retreat into like, staying at the crease, hanging around, as Tendulkar used to say.
And they don't have the experience, man. I mean, Iftikhar has not played tests. Shadab has not played tests.
Yeah, but that's there are plenty of what is it, the PSL experience and all.
PSL, they play a lot.
Yeah, they play a lot of T20, but it's
that's not my point. That's not my point. My point is you have based your entire career on limited over cricket and hitting. On a pitch which doesn't allow hitting, you have to still try to hit.
Ashoka, I think like the other problem Pakistan have is not that it's not a question of like their players not having enough experience. It's that even in the T20 side, this top order like this Rizwan and Babar, they hog so much of the batting that the middle order rarely gets a hit. And when it gets a hit in the these extremely compressed situations. So, I mean, they should really have
that kind of furthers the perception that Babar and Rizwan should bat longer. And they bat longer.
But that's like a vicious cycle, no? I mean, whereas the solution is that they should bat less, I mean, and to Kohli's eternal credit, he has realized that. I mean, especially in the 2024 IPL, there is a change in his record. I mean, it's not like he's still producing numbers of the elite top order T20 IPL players, but he is producing different numbers to what he did before. I mean, sometimes he has no choice, and sometimes he does lapse into his. But he has sort of tried more shots. He has tried to sweep the spinner. He has tried to, hit over the infield. Square of the wicket and things like that. Like when was the last time you saw Kohli play a square cut? You saw him play one the other day against Pakistan. It didn't work, but it was worth a try. So I mean, and he played it because there's no deep third man. So that was he's doing he's trying to compete, man. He's at least sticking his neck out. And you would not expect anything else, from like a player like him.
Also, the thing about these pitches is that they've also demanded a certain kind of skills from the bowler. Like if you saw the South Africa-Bangladesh game yesterday, like the full balls were being hit easily. But, the moment Mustafizur and Rabada, Norkia and all, they bowled that short of a length ball, and then that grip on the pitch really sort of made it very tricky for the batter. But Pakistan, on the bowling side, they didn't figure out that pitch at all against USA. They were just so one-dimensional in that game against USA, and USA kept comfortably getting those runs, and finally, I mean, of course, they should have ideally won in 18 overs, USA. In the end, the last 3 overs ended up being really tight and they took it to the super over. But USA were in control of the game for 90% of that game. And Pakistan's bowling was just so one-dimensional. So I think the bowling is also suffering, the batting is also suffering. They are in a deep pickle over here in this tournament.
I mean, after all said and done, they have lost 4 points for 6 runs, man. That's all. They have not lost. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, but as I said, Ashoka, they were not that USA game. They were probably could have lost much bigger margin. So they were lucky to take it so close.
And even in the India match, I mean, if Surya Kumar Yadav and Pant had stayed lucky for a little bit more, India would have made 145, 150, man. Easily, they would have made 150. At 10 overs, we were 80 for 3. No, we were that was an astounding.
What Ashoka is saying is exactly the point. That's the difference, with India and South Africa and England and Australia. Yeah, their batters are taking chances, but that sort of raises the ceiling of what they could get. Whereas in Pakistan, they're not even giving themselves a chance to get that. And they have to change that. But the thing is, like, this happened to them in the last World Cup also in Australia. Like, they lost to India, then they lost to Zimbabwe. But then
Mr. Bean.
I think Netherlands lost to South Africa. Netherlands beat South Africa.
Netherlands beat South Africa.
And then Pakistan sort of sneaked into the knockout round. And then they made the final. So, anything, I mean, this is still a really noisy tournament. I mean, one of the interesting things about this World Cup is that I think, like, thanks to this American adventure, the teams which are playing in America have a much harder time, like, preparing, because, like, they know less about what to expect from the conditions than the teams which are playing in West Indies. Like, where there's a lot of data for all the grounds in the West Indies, with the Caribbean Premier League and T20 internationals for over a decade, and, like, they're much more established. Like, playing England versus Australia at the Kensington Oval in Barbados. So that's like them playing at Wankhede Stadium, and that's like what you would call a normal top table T20 match. And it was like a normal top table T20 match, like 200 plays 170 or whatever it was. It's like you look at the IPL and you have, like, Punjab Kings, who are, like, for some odd reason they play in so many different home grounds. Like, they will play in Punjab and then they will also play in Himachal, in Dharamshala and all. What that does is it makes it difficult for them to build a squad, because, like, you like, unlike CSK, like, CSK built their squad it is very, very optimized for the conditions in Chennai, so that gives them a huge advantage. And then they sort of accumulate that advantage over the years, because they know they are going to play half their matches in Chennai every year. Whereas these guys don't. So, like, they have a much more difficult task, building efficient squads. And, like, that's the thing. I mean, I think I have a feeling that you will find more upsets from the American, the groups which are playing in America than the groups which are playing in West Indies. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, though Afghanistan, have been doing well, that other group. I think some of the pitches have really, really helped them as well. As with Bangladesh, I mean, even Bangladesh they came really close to winning against South Africa, and they could have been 2 wins. So, yeah, I think their sort of spinners, when they get the help from the pitches, I think they've been doing well as well. So, yeah, I mean, see, this American leg is going to go on only for the first round. I think after that, a lot of it moves on to West Indies. So then we will get, like, perhaps we will get, like, a more normal tournament. But this helter-skelter stage is also exciting for its own reasons. Yeah, but Pakistan, I'm not sure. I mean, they can beat Canada and Ireland, but still, I don't know if they will sneak through unless USA loses really badly or something. And USA also have a game against Ireland, so that we don't know. I mean, that could go either way. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been paying much attention to the West Indies side of the tournament, actually, partly because of the times, and also because these groups are keeping things more interesting. So maybe we should focus there. But thoughts on India? Played 2 games, beat Ireland pretty easily. Of course, they had the toss advantage in the Ireland game also. I think that the toss advantage was pretty pronounced. And then against Pakistan, of course, they pulled off the jailbreak. Any ideas, thoughts, Bumrah, team that they're picking? I think it's pretty standard, right? I mean, there are no surprises or anything in
I think
they're playing and how they're playing.
Dubey will sit out, I think, or because Kuldeep will come in during the West Indies leg of the.
I hope.
I think that might be the, barring injuries, that might be the only change they will do. Or I don't know how they will go about it. They may drop one of Jadeja or Axar also. But that, I think, is something that they won't, because Jadeja and Axar, they would need for lower order batting insurance. So I don't know how.
Also, a lot of matchups are happening, right? So Aksar was sent up, and then Pant is being sent up. I think a lot of this left-handed, right-handed matchups are also happening. So they will probably look at that before selection too.
Yeah, maybe, but somehow Kuldeep will probably feature in the West Indies leg of the tour. Other than that, this is probably it. This is probably how they're going to go. I don't think it will be very surprising if Jaiswal gets in. It will be very surprising if Samson gets in. It will be very surprising if Chahal gets in ahead of Kuldeep. And who's the one other guy? I think 15, no, 11 plus 4. One more guy should be there. I'm forgetting it. But I think that's about it.
I mean, it's been two matches on like fairly unusual T20 pitches. So I don't think they're going to drop anybody on the basis of that. I would be very, very surprised if they drop anybody, unless there's like an injury or something like that, in which case it's possible. But I mean, barring that, I don't see them like dropping anybody. I was interested to see like the promotion of Akshar Patel, which is, I think there's a theory that you should put left-handers in the top order. And I'm not quite sure why that theory is. I think it has something to do with the fact that the majority of bowlers are right-handers. So if you put a lefty in the top order. That is one thing which might sort of get Jaiswal in. But, I don't think there's any chance of like Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli being split up right now, especially because they're winning. And now they have like these two remaining fixtures, which are, I mean, they could lose those. I mean, these pitches, anything can happen. But
no, I think only one match is there in New York. I mean, tomorrow they're playing. Today is 11th, so tomorrow 12th they'll play Canada. Oh no! The 12th they'll play USA.
No, they play USA. Yeah.
Yeah, and then their last match is in Florida.
Yeah, that Florida pitch is a little bit more known. They play more regularly there. Yeah.
India played there before. Like India played a T20 match
multiple times. They played multiple times before.
I think they actually played even in 2016 in Florida.
Yeah, that was the famous game we were talking about in the chat actually, when Dhoni takes it deep and then India lose by 1 run. That was there. And then there was also Florida is a more established sort of cricket venue. They know what's going on over there, and the pitches are less of a lottery than usually. I mean, we don't know but this time, but less of a lottery.
But it's not a 100 pitch, man.
No. Proper batting pitch. Yeah.
I mean, it does seem like, I don't know whether I've been curious, like there's Oman, Namibia, Uganda, USA and Canada and Papua New Guinea.
And Nepal.
And Nepal. Like, and it's not easy to, it's not easy to gauge like whether some of those teams are better than others, and partly that's because it's really hard to compare results from West Indies with results in America.
Maybe, but I think Uganda is, proper associates. They were all out 39, I think. And
they were all out 39 and all out 58.
So they are proper associates.
But that's against West Indies and Afghanistan, man. That they're good attacks.
I think the range is really wide, man. I think the range of these teams, it's really wide. Not just among the teams. Like the teams themselves their performances can vary across a wide range, but even between them, like the worst of say Uganda and the best of USA. I think there's like the gulf is really vast.
Yeah, I mean, even Ireland were bowled out for 96 by India, but I mean that's. I don't know how much that had to do with the pitch and how much that had to do with like Ireland being Ireland. But I mean, Ireland are not bad. I mean, they beat Pakistan earlier this year, so they're not like they're competing against like the old full members.
And they've been on the circuit for a while, man. So
they have some experienced players. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, Scotland may well go into the Super 8s, man. I mean, they are in a great position as of now. So, that'll be good to have one team.
At the expense of England. That is the sweet part.
At the expense of England, correct? Because that game was rained out. No, so yeah, it'll be good. I mean, I'm just saying it'll be good to have one of these teams in the Super 8. I think that'll be itself number one, you get to see more of them and they get more game time. But number two, also, it's a good thing for the tournament. The more teams you play, then the more these teams have a chance of making it to the next round. And, with this format, I think this format should continue. I hope they don't go back and go to, all these more limited teams. This T20 should be a great chance to expand and bring in more teams. And 32, if you can get 32, then nothing like it.
I actually think, I like Ashoka's idea, because I think that the thing with the ODI World Cup is that if you actually have a 10 or 12 team league, then at the end of the league, you have a very good idea as to which is the best team in the world, which is the best team in that league, where everyone is playing everyone. The thing is, in a T20 league, in only 10 or 12 games, you don't, because T20 is really short and still very, very noisy. These teams, especially in America, they're playing a fall shot every 2.5 balls. I mean, India played 50 fall shots against Pakistan and they got bowled out and they still won. So since it's getting a format which produces reliably produces one of the best teams or the best team as the winner is really hard in the T20. You might as well go the other way and turn it into a real knockout sudden death. And
quarterfinal, semi-final, final, soccer football. Simple.
Round of 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, fair enough. You'll suddenly have Afghanistan playing in the semi-final or something because they have a great day. But so what? That's great. No,
I mean 20 for now is quite a good number, but clearly, if the trajectory of the associate teams continues the way it has in the last 10-15 years, then there will be 32 teams that are good enough. I mean, I'm thinking if the drop off past Uganda and all is even average decline, then by the time you get to the 32nd best team, it's going to be pretty bad, right? I mean, then you'll really have weekend players and amateur players playing in the 32nd best team in the world, right? But
not now. Maybe going forward. Yeah. Now it's probably a bit too early for 32. But at some point in the next, say, 10-15 years, if they can get it to 32, that'll be perfect. Yeah.
We have not yet discussed the main talking point.
What is the main talking point? That leg bye.
Yeah,
Bangladesh are robbed, man.
Justice for Bangladesh, man. Justice for Bangladesh.
Hrudoy.
Not Hrudoy, Mahmudullah.
Oh, that was Mahmudullah. Okay.
Hrudoy got an umpire spot.
Yeah. KD, you were
the absolute outrage, the lucky, fluky 4, which never was, but should have been brought back to life from death, and because that was not done, it is an outrage. The laws of cricket.
No, but tell me this. Would the same outrage have happened if that particular event happened in the very first ball of the Bangladesh innings? I don't think so. I think
but if in the end they lose by 4 runs and it's a 4, then it will, man. Come on.
Oh, okay. So you're saying the result makes the difference of what is the outrage.
If they lose by 25 runs, they won't make a big noise about it.
Okay. Okay. So I will link Kartikeya's piece that he has written about it. Kartikeya, of course, has been the staunch advocate of cricketing laws, as he always is. And I totally agree with him. I agree that number one, the umpires, that was the law, and the umpires went according to the law. The decision was correct. It should not have been a 4 because the ball was dead the moment it hit the pad.
Nobody disagrees that it is a law. Everybody's saying, should we change it or not? That's the question.
Yeah. But here's the problem of changing it. Your problem of changing it is not like a small little sort of a stitch that you're putting to a garment. You're actually changing the whole garment. You're changing like so much fundamental about it, because as we have seen in several examples after that, there are any number of things that can happen after that appeal to make things extremely confusing, man. Like, what if there is a run out at the non-striker end? You're going to then wait for that run out. Then you're going to give the LBW decision. Then you're going to check with the third umpire about the run out. And then what? Who is going to be out? The first guy is going to be out and the second guy is going to be staying. Yeah. It's going to lead to a lot of...
But you know what, Sidvi? Everybody has a very straightforward solution to this, all this complication you're bringing in. You know what it is. Like, we all know what it is. Use common sense, man. that is what it always sort of defaults to in the end. Like if they say, well,
I was about to say shoot the umpires, but then okay, this also is
actually I agree with that. Like, don't shoot them, but like just leave. Take them out. No, you have DRS. The whole problem happens because now you have this review for the player. So the decision is made once and then revisited by the TV umpire. So that's why this whole business of the ball going dead and the ball coming alive again and happens. But like, I mean, the more sort of basic problem with this reinstatement is that like people are noticing like the obvious thing, which is that in this case it apparently the batting side was denied 4 runs. They were not denied, but that's how it's being described. But the point is, if they were awarded 4 runs, then it would be that the fielding side is unfairly awarded 4 runs. No, because I mean, look, the fielding side hits the batter on the pad. The fielding side appeals for the LBW as they are required to get an LBW, right? So the fielding side doesn't doesn't field the ball. That's probably why it went for 4, right? Because the fine leg is appealing, and then when the umpire raised the finger, he stopped trying to like field the ball. Like, then they'll say, "Well, what the hell, yeah? We did what we were supposed to do. It went for 4. How can you give it as 4? Like, in normal circumstances, our fine leg would have fielded it, no?" So then what happens is then the proponents of this law will say, oh, they throw their hands up and they say, yeah, but the umpire can use some common sense. And then when the umpire uses common sense, that is, common sense is the colloquial term for umpires having discretion, in some area, and umpires do have very limited, well-defined areas in which they have some discretion, but when umpires do use that discretion, then people complain that the umpire is using his subjective judgment. Like one more favorite phrase of these people. Like, yeah, what is this? How? It's just his subjective opinion. As if he's some idiot off the street. Like, how can it be his subjective opinion? It is a trained opinion, no? And besides, that's not the point. Even if whatever it is, it's his job to give that opinion. That is literally what the law asks the umpire to do, and the umpire is doing it. And unless you can show that the umpire is wrong in some way, the umpire is right.
No, I think the fundamental issue here is that the cricketing dismissal is, at least for the LBW and a few other cases, is based on the appeal. So that is like
everything a fundamental... is based on the appeal. All dismissals are based on appeal. There are only 2 ways in which a batter can be dismissed in cricket. One is the fielding side has to ask for a dismissal and the umpire has to give it. And second is that the batter has to walk off and the umpire has to not stop it. Those are the only 2 ways. If a batter is bowled and he doesn't walk and the umpire doesn't give it out on appeal, then the batter is not bowled.
Yeah, exactly. So the batter walks after he's bowled.
Yeah, I mean, if listeners are interested, it's Law 31 of the laws of cricket.
Yeah. So once you have a system that is built fundamentally on the appeal, then the moment a bowling team appeals, an umpire, like, what? He cannot just say, okay, hang on, wait. I want to see everything that transpires after this, and no, because the moment the appeal is made and the moment the umpire decides, then the ball is dead. So that is the law. Now, if you want to change that law, you may be opening up a can of worms. But okay,
Besides,
Open it up and
it
see.
also doesn't matter when the umpire raises his finger. This is another like wild idea. Like apparently some people are suggesting, like I think even Sambit Bal suggested this. I mean, I think this is what he was suggesting. I would be surprised if this is what he wrote anyway. Which is this idea that, well, the umpire should just wait until everything is over and then raise his finger. As if it doesn't matter when he raises his finger, man. If it's LBW, then the law says that the ball is dead in the instant when the action due to which the dismissal occurred has occurred. So in the case of LBW, that is the instant when the ball hits the pad. Everything that happens after that, the ball is dead. It doesn't count. Okay, once the umpire has given it out. There is the basic thing about cricket is like that the umpire is the administrator of the game. The umpire has a lot of power and a lot of authority, and the people misunderstand this, I think, basically. And not only that, people don't like the fact that the umpire has this authority and this power. Like I think people are genuinely offended by the idea of the umpire, especially when there's a decision which they don't like. It's not just that the umpire is giving a bad decision. It's that people are offended by the very idea, very concept of an umpire. Like they want an umpire who has power, but who will never ever make an error and who will never ever act against their interests and do all these contradictory combinations of things. Like this is not on, man. This is not a good criticism of umpiring. Now you could say, for instance, that there is a good criticism of this rule which they've introduced in DRS, which is DRS basically says that if a out decision is reversed and turned into a not out, and this is, if readers are interested, this is 3.7 of Appendix D of the playing conditions or the ICC's playing conditions, which specifies all the rules of DRS. So the 3.7 deals with what happens to the dead ball law in the case of a review. And so basically, if an out decision gets converted to a not out decision, then none of the events after the ball originally went dead are reinstated. Whereas if a not out is converted to a out, then basically all the events which occur after the out are null and void. Right. So that is the rule that they've made, and it's a good rule because it preserves like their laws. It preserves the internal. It doesn't require them to tamper with the internal consistency of the laws as they are currently arranged, and it sort of fits DRS in on the side of this thing. But what people want is like they want like this DRS to say, "Hey, you're replacing this, so why don't you also replace it?" It's not that simple, no. I mean, because this is going to create new questions all the time and more frequently, in other circumstances in this case. So it's not, I mean, that's the other subtext, which is that the people who made the laws must be so stupid that they didn't realize that there's this one simple tweak which they could do, which would avoid this one situation. No, they're not, man. They thought about all this. These laws are like people who write these laws, they say, they've been thinking about this for decades, man. Like, it's not like, they're watching TV and something occurs to them and they change the law. It doesn't work like that. So
yeah, I think the fundamental starting point here is that, when you see something like this, the fundamental starting point is to go and check the law. That because a lot of people, it's first of all, even people who regularly follow cricket, it's hard to know every single law. So what the least one can do as a follower of the game is to go and refer to the law to start with. Then you debate the law and you find ways in which you can change it. That is fine.
Yes, but then you're debating the actual law, no, not the imaginary law.
Correct. So then you have a starting point, right? Then you say, okay, this is my starting point. This is the law. This is the wording. This is the interpretation. This is what I'm arguing. Now, the problem is if you're not even have a starting point, then you can go in any direction. No. And then that really doesn't really serve any purpose. It's like saying, if you have a problem in physics, you have to first go back and go to the textbook and see, okay, this is what it is saying. Then we will try to see how to solve the problem. Otherwise, you can't just make up some random thing, to come and... I mean, it's a science. And in a way, cricketing, like umpiring, is like, it's a very legally sort of bound situation that they're working on. And to understand them, you have to understand the law. So yeah, I totally think that was a fine umpire decision. If you want to change the law, then debate around the law and find a way to change it. And then you will probably be opening a can of worms if you say that you have to wait for all the action to be completed. But yeah, if you want to open the can of worms, open it. So let that be. But poor thing. I mean, Bangladesh, forget that decision. That decision is over. But I think they had a great chance of winning that game. They could have won 2 games after that, and they would have been in a great position to qualify. But yeah, now they are back to just 1 win. So let's see.
Never beaten South Africa in a World Cup of any form.
Never beaten South Africa in a World Cup. And by the way, if the South Africa choking narrative completely disappeared yesterday, yeah? Because they too won a close game. But
No, it didn't disappear, Sidvi. It is sleeping.
It is sleeping. It will come up.
It is sleeping for the knockouts.
Yeah, it will come up because they have to win the matches that matters, not random.
What this match? This match didn't matter.
Because they won, it doesn't matter, man. If they lost, it would have mattered.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So let's wait and watch.
Like India, like India won all 10 games, won semi-final. All that didn't matter. When it mattered, we lost.
Yeah. When it matters.
Ashoka, the one sort of fascinating thing I find about this World Cup is how many teams, their bowling attacks are basically their test bowling attacks. That didn't used to be the case, no?
South Africa have Nortje, Rabada, Maharaj, all 3 first choice test bowlers.
And
then
Jansen.
They have this, of course, Jansen. So 4. Then they have that Bartman, but Bartman I think is more limited over specialist. So yeah, but
what happened to Kohli?
And Australia, I don't know, and I was wondering what happened to that
bench. Courtesy bench.
Okay.
Because he was in the squad, no? I mean, I know he was in the squad.
Bench.
And Berger doesn't play a T20, I think.
No,
or
I think
at least not.
He does, but I think he was injured during the Rajasthan Royals stint only, no?
Oh, yeah, correct. IPL, he got injured. Correct. And Australia have
Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, and Zampa.
Yeah. Zampa is crucial, man, for them in these sort of pitches. He's really good.
England have like awesome. Archer and Wood, who, if they are fit, Archer and Wood are going to be in their test team. India have Bumrah and Siraj, and frankly, if they had Shami, they would have played him.
Jadeja, Akshar.
Jadeja, Akshar, Kuldeep.
Yeah.
Like, everybody is playing their test bowlers. Like, okay, Australia did drop Cummins for Nathan Ellis in one of the games, but...
hey, Pakistan, man, kidhar hai tere test bowlers?
Amir,
everyone.
Naseem, Shaheen, Afridi.
Amir retired, came back. Haris is not playing tests.
No, Haris Rauf is not playing. I had this Vase, and I feel like every time someone says Haris, like in my mind, the name Tapia comes in. What the hell, man?
Naseem plays. Naseem and
Shaheen, that's it.
And Shaheen are test bowlers, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Pakistan, like that Shadab and Imad Wasim, like they're not playing their test spinners. That's true.
Yeah, that is an outrage, by the way. That Abrar is not getting a chance. That is one separate outrage going on over there. So, Pakistan have multiple outrages around multiple topics.
And New Zealand are like playing Ferguson and all that.
New Zealand, yeah, correct. They lost one match also. So, against
Afghanistan. Hold out for 75.
Yeah, correct. So my theory of New Zealand not losing to in the sort of the lower ranked teams and all is out of it. But Afghanistan not lower ranked. So
Afghanistan Afghanistan are like a respectable lower half team in the full members.
Yeah. Losing like to
Afghanistan, 7th or 8th best in the world.
They can beat any team, man. They can beat. I mean, they nearly beat Australia in an ODI. If not for that mad innings by Maxwell, they would have won that match also.
Yeah, I mean, they did beat England and Pakistan, no? I mean, that's...
Correct. Yeah. Okay, now I am out of time. So thank you for joining. We will meet to discuss more comedy, more cricketing laws, more outrage, more things. I'm sure things will get hotter as the tournament progresses. Let's wait and watch. My wish for the tournament is that at least one team, associate team, maybe Scotland, maybe USA, if things work out, makes it to the next round. I think that will be a huge boost for those teams, and also a huge sort of boost for the tournament itself to have widened it out, to have spread it out, and then to have these teams qualify. Let's see how that goes. 81allout.com is our website. At 81allout is our handle on X, and we have republished a few books, a few classic works of cricket literature. I will link that. Bomb Minus the Shooting by Mike Marquesi being one of the popular ones. So I will link. I will put a link to that. Please buy it and read. And also you can send us feedback on our website, and we are happy to hear what you all have to say and incorporate any changes that you wish to see. Thank you, and see you in about a week's time.
India have won the series. They're going to get back for two.